Hello, everyone. I am Jen Ritchie, and this is Wildlife Conversations. And we have not met yet in 2026. So I want to say Happy New Year. And I'm super excited about the spring, this winter and spring schedule that is coming up. I had someone on my absolute dream list that said yes, and I cannot wait to share that with you. I literally cried when she said yes. But if you're new to Wildlife Conversations, just a reminder that this is not fancy. This is actually my kids' former playroom and now their computer room. And it's just like you're sitting at my kitchen table or on my back porch, and we're just like talking wildlife. So it's pretty simple. And we're here to share stories, mostly from people that you haven't heard from yet, and also to build community while we celebrate the wild. So welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. My guest tonight grew up in the Midwest, just like me, and is now an Alaska-based photographer specializing in bear guiding and fly fishing. His love of photography was born from a passion for all things nature. And through his guide services and photo work, he helps people connect with the wilderness on a personal level. His goal is to inspire people to conserve and protect the wilderness and the wildlife he loves so much. I'm so happy to welcome Jon Kuiper to Wildlife Conversations. Hi, Jon.
Hey Jen, thanks for having me.
You're
You made
welcome.
me you made me sound pretty cool, so that's going to be tough to live up to. So,
That is my job.
um,
That's my job. You already
yeah,
have people saying hello from Vancouver, from Minnesota. Who else? Everyone's saying hi, Jon. Hi, Jon, from New York, Arizona. You spell Jon like my dad. My dad's Jon too.
yeah,
That.
yeah. Yeah, full name Jonathan, but
Yep.
only my mom calls me that. Usually, if I do something wrong, and she's in here, so I'm surprised she just went with Jon. I must be doing it right.
Oh, hi, Jon's mom. That's so fun.
Yeah,
We were talking about the first time we met in person. We had followed each other, and I had followed Tiffany, but then we met in person. I was waiting for you, like when you came to
yeah,
the bathroom door, I think,
yeah, yeah.
in Fort
In the
Alderman,
middle of
Alaska.
nowhere.
That
Yeah,
was
middle of
so
nowhere.
weird.
Well, home of the best milkshakes ever.
That's what you said.
Um,
Yes.
but such a random spot to bump in
It
to
was
somebody.
so
I was like,
random.
we looked at each other like, wait a second.
Wait, I know.
What are you doing in
I was
Fort
like,
Alton?
Tiffany? And she's like, Jen? And then I was like, she's like, you haven't met Jon, have you? You haven't met like in person. I'm like, no. She's like, come over here and wait. It was
Yeah,
so cool. I'm like, we're
yeah.
literally where you can only get by plane or by boat.
It's like, oh, we love wildlife photography. Let's quick take a selfie here on a gravel
Yes. Oh, I think
runway.
I have it. That's a,
It's so beautiful in the background.
yeah. I think I have that photo somewhere. Just a second if I can find it. Oh yeah, I do. That is hilarious. I'm glad you said that because I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. Just a random spot.
Just
Just got
hey,
done with a
look at the
hike for the
horizon
day.
line. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just real good composition there. It's exactly
Yeah,
why you
we're
have me.
photographers. We're photographers.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
but it was like you guys were getting ready to do a big hike, and I was with my group. So that was so fun to see familiar faces. I was so glad to
Yeah.
see you guys. And we have a acquaintance that we know from Michigan too, that's the same. So it's a small world.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. Someone I worked with back in, the
Hmm.
real world for eight
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. And
Always
didn't you
been
guys
like,
have the
hey, say hi
same
to
high
Jen.
school? Yeah, same high school maybe?
Yeah, yeah, we went to the
That's
same high
crazy.
school, which I
So
just
crazy.
had someone text me that like it's my 20-year reunion like this year, and that made me feel something. Like minutes
Oh
before I hopped
man.
on, I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
that's
that's not
a lot.
good.
That's a
Not
lot to
good.
take in. Yeah.
It is. So you grew up in the Midwest, is that right?
Mhm.
Like the whole
Yeah, Grand
time? Or yep,
Rapids.
yep,
Yep, Grand
yep,
Rapids, Michigan,
yep. I
my
grew up
whole
in
life.
yep. I grew up in Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah, no, grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, went to high school and college there. Always loved the outdoors, but didn't really get into photography until about a decade after college.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I was working a job, got a biology degree,
Mm-hmm.
which I loved. Had a great time in college, played college golf,
Oh, nice.
but wasn't really I would like, that was like my version of the outdoors for a while, was being on a golf course, which I have a lot of
Yeah,
different thoughts about now, but
yeah.
um, yeah, I did that. And then I started working. I was going to originally just take a gap year and then go to grad school. And
Mhm.
then I realized once I got out that that life's more than just school, and I didn't maybe don't want to go back.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I got a job in Grand Rapids with Tyler there. I worked
Yeah,
with him,
yeah.
our acquaintance for about a decade. Um, And I ended up doing a lot of traveling for that job. Worked my way up and then ended up doing traveling, some sales, trade shows. And I've never been a city person, believe it or not,
Yeah.
ending up in Alaska. But um, so when I would do solo travel, I wouldn't do what most people would do of like, oh, let me check out this restaurant, let me check out this city and see what that has to offer. I'd like work really long days trying to get ahead in my schedule that I had to keep, and then take a few rest days around national parks.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'd a place I really wanted to check out, and I would just drive that park for a few days and explore. And
Yeah.
I originally started doing like just landscape photography,
Yeah, I was wondering about
like
that.
a
Why
little
wildlife? Yeah.
yeah, just a little point and shoot.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I'm in so many cool places. I got to capture this somehow.
Yeah.
So got a little point and shoot and started taking landscape photos, and then went to Yellowstone actually. And I was like, well, this bison thing's pretty sweet. Like I should get some reach in my lens here. So upgraded, got my first reach lens, and yeah, then like quickly became obsessed with chasing wildlife everywhere I could.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you remember what
that's
your
progressed
first
from there.
like DSLR was or
Yeah,
mirrorless?
it was a Nikon D3400 I bought.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and just came with a little kit lens. And then
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I could buy like an 18 to 400 and then just never take it off. And this thing is great. And so I started doing that. And just looking back, it's like, yeah, I mean, it works,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
best camera is the one you have.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
but yeah, that was pretty life changing to get some actual reach in a lens. And I don't remember exactly when that was, but mid
Yeah.
2010s, maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
2016 or so.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just did the same thing, landscapes, travel. And then COVID hit, and I kind of was like, all right, well, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Um, so in Michigan, and they might come down to Indiana too, snowy owls come down in the winter.
Yeah. They
I don't know
have
if they ever
before,
make
not
it
as
that
much. They have
far.
before where it's like this rare sighting, but
Yeah, but I
a
started
while.
going around chasing that and those in the winter and
Fun.
finding them, and
So fun.
upgraded equipment. And then my love for wildlife really took off when I visited Alaska for the first time, and then never looked back. I've been working up
That
there ever
I
since.
know
So
now everything has changed. Your whole
yeah,
life
it
has
truly
changed.
was like, well, this is a place I could always choose to be. So
Yeah, isn't it so
um,
interesting how there are some places that feel like home? Like there really are. There really are
yeah, I
places where
mean,
you're like, wait, this is I'm supposed to be here. Yeah.
yeah, I've never really lived where I am right now either, but it kind of feels like home, even though I'm in an Airbnb in Gardner, Montana. But like the
Yeah, yeah,
GURA
yeah.
feels like home too, even though I,
Yeah.
never stepped foot here until post college. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like it feels so familiar, and it feels like this is where home is
Yeah.
because it's just amazing. Wildlife, the mountains, the views, just driving down Paradise Valley, even from Bozeman,
Yeah. It's
just so pretty. I mean,
beautiful.
it's not a park
So
or,
beautiful.
it's so stunning every time I make that drive. And then
Yeah.
just seeing the Roosevelt Arch and coming in, and it's
Hmm.
tough to beat.
It's gorgeous. So you make your first trip to Alaska.
Yep.
And so what's your first job? How do you know, like, how do you make it your way to stay there? Because you, you didn't know for sure, like, that you were going to leave your job. So
No.
how did you know
So
and what'd you do first?
yeah, so I was able to go. My dad's dad, my grandpa on my dad's side, passed away and left a sum of money that he told me was not to be used to put into another account. It was to be used to take a trip or do
Oh,
something fun.
wow.
Um, so that's what I used to go to Alaska. I went on a guided workshop.
Hmm.
And I went to Anchorage, did bull moose photography, and then flew out to a lodge in Lake Clark National Park.
Hmm.
Did bear photography for like 3 full days, which was incredible. So that was like life altering for sure. Um, and then post Alaska, sorry, still in Alaska, I was thinking there, had a really cool guide about my age, which was really fun. And I was also thinking at the time, like, I can do all of this. If a
Hmm.
lodge wants me to be a fishing guide, I've grown up fly fishing. If they
Oh
want me to be
yeah,
a photography
Michigan.
guide,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I had since upgraded all my gear and self-taught myself through YouTube University how to do
Yes.
everything. Um, and I'm kind of like a little bit of a settings nerd. So I like really dove deep into the technical side of things right when I got my first
Hmm.
mirrorless camera and all
Yeah,
that. So
yeah,
um, I did all of that and I was like, I think I could do this.
yeah.
So let me email every lodge in the world that exists in
That's
Alaska.
so cool. Yeah,
And a few got back to me, but one of them was Brooks Lodge in Katmai, and they were like,
yeah,
"Hey," he called me, and the manager called me and was like, "Hey, you don't really have experience, but like, how about you come up and start just helping me out, being like a camp assistant, but also a guide?"
yeah.
And then I was like, Absolutely." I actually like was wondering because I got offered that same summer a job in the Tetons full-time guiding.
Oh,
I was like,
whoa.
what to choose.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I had a friend tell me that if I don't go to Alaska, that we aren't friends anymore, to at least try since it was Brooks. And so, yeah, so I went up to Brooks. So a little the prod that I needed.
I mean, it's hard to pass up. And then you could always go to the Tetons if that didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was told. And so I just needed a little prod. I needed someone
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
like, yeah, you're doing this. It's right. Like if it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
work
yeah.
in real life, the real life's always going to wait for you. Real
That's
life in quotes, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I went up there. Then I went to Brooks and it was all different after that.
yeah, absolutely. You decide to leave Tecton Tools where you were working
Yep.
before with
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
brother-in-law.
Yep.
And then you decide I'm going full time into this thing. I'm giving it everything, which is really admirable. Um, and then so you do Brooks Lodge, which is like everybody wants to go to Brooks Lodge. It's like a lifetime experience. I got to go
Yep.
a couple times whenever I was there in 2024 and saw
Yeah.
Tiffany there too. Is that
That's fun.
crazy? It's so
Yeah.
crazy. Saw her the next day, I think. And then, but that is like an amazing place. Like it's just, you're not going to be anywhere like it. It's
No,
just very unique.
no,
And your
day
favorite
one.
bear is there.
Yeah, my favorite bear's there. I
We'll
have
show you.
long sleeves on, so I can't give a preview, but yeah, a bear that on day like the bear the photo that you're showing was like my first week there,
Oh,
basically.
wow. So this is a
Um,
portrait of Chunk, and he
yeah,
won this year, the Fat Bear
current fat bear
contest.
champion. Yeah,
Yes.
well deserved. Finally recognized. Finally not the bridesmaid anymore.
Yeah, yeah. He was
Um,
out when I was there, and really there weren't many out. So I got to see him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's just the best. I'm obviously very biased. But I tell people like I know it's not true, but I always say like it kind of seemed like a crazy person whenever guests would see him with me because I'd be like, "Hey, there he is. He's my buddy." They're like, "He's a wild animal." I'm like, "I know that. I'm not gonna go pet him, but
I know,
like,
but there is a thing. There's something
yeah,
about these animals,
yeah,
and we're a
yeah,
little weird anyway. So
exactly. Yeah, I'm weird enough to make all those statements. So, but yeah, that was like week one. Just like jumped right into it, right?
yeah,
So.
yeah,
I had only seen one other, like a few other bears previously in Yellowstone. I'd never, and then obviously that trip to Alaska, where I went to the lodge. But
yeah.
yeah, it was cool. The first bear I ever actually saw in my life was 399, which was another, very famous bear. I saw her for
Iconic. Yes.
3 seconds, but I saw her.
Yeah,
Um, and then yeah, going up to Katmai and seeing bears every day, you get thrown into the fire of bear experience. So.
yeah.
Have like 5 full summers up there now, so
Right.
tons of time around them, very comfortable.
And you're
But
mainly in Lake Clark now in that area still?
yeah, yeah, I spent
Okay.
the last 2 seasons at a flyout lodge in Lake Clark,
Hmm,
flying all
hmm.
over Bristol Bay. So
Oh, wow.
this is like my favorite place. Um, but I found myself getting a little bit content and like almost like not enjoying what I should be enjoying as much.
Hmm, hmm.
The way that my work was set up there, I would do 2 4-hour tours every day usually. Whether it was fishing or photography.
Hmm.
Um, I would make that same walk from the lodge up to the platform, start there, and then we'd walk down in the river and get, eye
Yeah.
level into the water, which is
Hmm,
super fun to do.
hmm.
But I found myself being like complacent and like kind of almost like, man, I'm not enjoying how magical this place is anymore. And it's because I was there every single day, which
Yeah,
is a dream. I know it's a dream. I know it's crazy to say, well, I don't want to
yeah.
be at Brooks anymore. Um, but I did a fly out trip one flyout trip in 2 years at Brooks, and I actually took my mom out to somewhere else
Oh,
where
that's fun.
there were different places. It was me and my mom and stepdad and Tiffany, and we flew out and we went to this place, and I was like, this is magical. Like Alaska
Yeah.
has so much more to see. And there's so many different opportunities out there
Yeah.
that, and a new lodge was opening up, and they flew out all over the place, and I could see all of the state that I wanted to see.
Yeah,
So I could
that's
see both
awesome.
parks, fly to the coast, go all these locations and get experience and different photographic opportunities. More of the minimalist stuff on the coast or the
Hmm.
sedge meadows. I think
Yeah,
you the Hallow, right? Like,
I
uh,
did. Yeah.
yeah, so like those type of places where you're just like, there's mountains direct, like there's a volcano on the ocean and I'm on a
It's
beach.
crazy.
It's just
When you're
wild.
there, it's like you feel like you just like want to pinch yourself because like how can this be real?
Exactly. Yeah. Every day
Crazy.
is such a yeah, like you said, you feel like you're dreaming.
Yeah.
I have literally pinched myself before. Like, am I? Because I have dreamed about cool experience. So it's been like as cheesy as it sounds, like in the moment, like, this is so cool. Like, let me actually pinch myself.
Well, I think we both, I don't know if I was going to ask you, I'm showing a picture now of about, I don't know how many bears are this, like 9, 10 bears on a whale carcass. This is a humpback
Yeah.
whale carcass. And
Yeah, it was a
I'm not sure
small
if I
gray
saw
whale.
this same one. We'll have to ask, I'll talk about the
No,
location off.
this
We'll
was a
talk off.
different one.
Okay, it's a
Yeah,
different one. You know which one I saw. Okay.
this is an undisclosed location that I
Okay.
don't disclose.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
but this was my favorite wildlife encounter of my entire life.
Oh, wow.
So I Tiffany and I begged the lodge manager for this opportunity. We had found we in general, not actually me personally. It
Yes.
wasn't me, but our pilot and Tiff and our marketing guy were flying around doing stuff for the lodge, and they were like, wait a second, is that a whale carcass? And it had not washed up on the beach yet. It was like getting thrown around in the waves, and there was a bear like pacing the beach waiting. And so we knew like it was going to be an opportunity to see really cool things for about a
Yeah.
week, maybe.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and so we brought guests there the next couple of days. We're like, this is awesome. But like, okay, let's find a way to be there in the evening or by ourselves
Hmm.
because a lot of
Hmm.
times we're so worried about safety that we don't get to take photos that often.
Right.
Uh, so we convinced our manager to let us stay overnight out there. So we
Oh,
brought a
nice.
tent with our guests, and then the plane flew home, and we got to stay out in the evening. And we were up until about 12:30 because it was midsummer. So we shot until
Hmm.
about 12:30.
Hmm.
Then we woke up and shot again at like 4. I didn't
Hmm.
sleep at all.
Hmm.
We had a tent in the middle of all of that. We didn't camp anywhere near the whale carcass. We walked like a couple miles away
Yeah.
just to be safe. But we had a bear fence and a tent, and that's all we needed. But it was unbelievable being there in good light, being there overnight.
Yeah.
And while you were looking at the scene that you're looking at here, like you said, there was a lot of tension in the air. There was, bears that aren't there during the daytime, and they were all these big male bears, all trying to feed on this, come from miles away. All
Yeah.
these big meadows, the big guys came over, and they're like, "I got to get a piece of this."
They can smell it. They're just
And
like following that
yeah.
smell.
And as we were photographing the bears, we were kind of strolling up, and I looked over to my right, and I was like, "Wait a second." And down the sand dune came a wolf. And so there was then a wolf right next to us. And so I think I
Oh
sent
my
you a
gosh.
wolf picture, like
I
that
hope this
vertical
is the right
crop.
one.
Yep, that's the wolf. So
Yeah, she's so pretty.
that was to my left, taking that photo was the whale scene. So there's a whale carcass with 11 bears to my left. And then looking over back towards the dune, there's this young wolf that came right over and checked us out and was like, "What are you guys?"
So
And
you
you could
can
tell
see it.
it wasn't bad intent. It was just curiosity, like, "Hey, what's
Hmm.
going on here?"
Yeah. What
Um,
are these things?
Yeah, exactly. So that was like I had to like pinch myself in that moment and like shaking and being like, this is the coolest thing of all time. Um,
Yeah, we could see when I was at a different location 2 years ago, we could see all the huge wolf prints
yeah,
coming to the carcass. So it was just so cool even to see the tracks. But we were all kept looking around, just hoping.
yeah,
We weren't there late enough, I don't think, or early enough to be able, but we knew they probably could smell us and knew we were
for
there.
sure.
But it's so cool
Yeah,
just to see the tracks.
I think you were only a couple of, hop, skip, and a jump down the coastline from where I was in that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You sent me another wolf photo too. Is it the same wolf or is it different?
Mm, I don't remember. I'd have
Okay,
to
I'll
see.
show it. We can
Yeah,
see.
let's see.
It looks kind of like the same coloring. So
It might be the same wolf. It might be the same. Oh, it's in the meadow, right?
yes, in the meadow wolf. No,
Okay.
it may be different coloring.
It might be a different
Beautiful.
wolf, but it's the same, and it's the same uh encounter basically. But that
Yes.
was the next morning. So
Oh,
then we went
wow.
out the next morning when we woke up early. We went and checked out the whale carcass, and then we went to the meadows to wait for the plane to come back with other guests. And
Hmm.
we were watching a mom and three cubs, and they all like started alerting like over this direction. And so we were like, what? They all of a sudden like they didn't care at all that we were around, but all
Right,
of a sudden
right.
you could tell like mom's on alert, the cubs are standing, they're making all these
Hmm.
huff sounds. So you could
Hmm.
tell they were giving out stress responses. And
Yes.
I we'd been sitting there long enough that I knew it wasn't us because I never want to be, the cause of a stress sign, no
Right,
matter
right.
what the wildlife is. But and we looked over and the wolf was trotting right up, and there's a little cut creek right between us, so like we didn't trot right up to us, but he basically, yeah, came right up and looked us in the eye again. And
So crazy.
yeah, it's something I'll never get used to is, locking eyes with something like that, a bear or a wolf.
No, no,
Man, wolf encounters are so fleeting that I'll never take those for granted for sure.
no. I've only had one in Yellowstone and it was so fast and we were in the snow coach. So yeah, it's been really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I treasure them. They get a bad rap, like
I know I don't know, it's too bad. I'm reading,
especially in the lower 48. I mean, they do in
yes,
Alaska too. But yeah, in the lower 48 around the GYE, they just get just a really bad reputation of, mindless killing and all
I
this stuff.
know, I know. I'm
It's
reading,
not really true. They're so curious for the most part. Like I'm
and good for
sure,
the
yeah,
ecosystem, like what we've seen in
100%.
Yellowstone. Yeah. So I'm
100.
reading The Rise of Wolf
Wolf
8.
8.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
reading that right now. It's so
Yeah.
good. Rick McIntyre, if
Yeah,
anybody wants to
I
read.
met him, bumped into him yesterday.
Oh,
So I
that's so
chatted with him for
funny.
a little bit. So yeah, it's
See,
funny
it's
that
a
you're
very
reading the book.
small world.
Yeah.
Very small
Yeah.
world. That's so
Well, it's
interesting.
similar to like all the bear jams, there's the wolf watchers in the
Yes,
winter, and
absolutely.
they
I
live for
know.
that, and it's awesome to see people that have that much passion and meet them and to be able to talk about their subjects with
Yeah,
them.
and they know everything. They know
Truly,
everything.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah, truly.
interesting. It's so
Yeah.
interesting. Well, if I was on a trip with you and
Yeah.
we're walking through the meadow and like we're on Lake Clark or we're walking through the meadow, what are like some basic things you would be saying to me if people have never been before? And
I
maybe
would give it
there's a mom and cub about 50 yards away, maybe two cubs. Let's have
okay. Yeah. Um well, I would have given you the whole pregame speech of like, hey, like you kind of dictate how much of a leash I give you in those moments.
fun.
If I know that you're going to listen when I say we have to do something, then you'll get a longer leash.
Hmm.
Um, we'll be able to enjoy the encounter for a longer period of time. Um, but it's really important to act the same as other people in certain areas, especially with bears. Like viewing at Brooks versus viewing in remote Katmai versus the coast, like all of it's different. So I've given you a little chat about, hey, this is where we're going. We're going to go. They're going to be eating in the sedge meadows. So they're going to be pretty stationary. They don't move around a lot unless it's
Hmm.
mating season and a male's chasing a female around.
Hmm.
Um, but what we're going to do is when we approach, we're not going to approach too close. We'll sit down in a group. We'll walk in a single file line so we look like a big one unit. And then we'll sit down together and we'll let the wildlife approach us. We'll let them dictate the distance and what they're comfortable with. And then I'd fill you in on the stress signs. Like if you have a bear look over at you constantly, wondering what you're up to, like that bear's a little bit wary of what you're up to. Usually they just mind their business and don't ever hardly look at you.
Hmm.
But if they keep looking over, yawning is another big stress sign for bears. Huffing, like
Hmm.
like they
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the real one you want to avoid that I've only encountered a couple of times is jaw popping. Like if you hear that sound, like and they're directing it at you, uh,
Whoa.
not what you want. It's not where you want to be.
Okay.
Um, but being prepared and just kind of knowing all of that behavior beforehand.
Yeah, I did not
Uh,
know about the jaw popping. I've never heard that.
yeah,
Okay.
it's there's no chance I can imitate it. It's kind of like almost like a weird like drop of water sound when they like
Mm-hmm.
they do the
Mm-hmm.
yawning motion. It's almost
Yeah.
like it's almost like when you drink a ton of water and your tummy rumbles a little and you feel it sloshing a loud slot. It's kind of like that.
Interesting,
Um,
interesting.
but
Yeah,
it's definitely unique.
none of the bears that we watched on both of my Alaska trips, I never saw stress. So it was really nice.
Yeah, it's not super common to see it
Yeah.
stressed, you know, like as long as you do things like similar to how everybody else does them in those bear viewing areas, like
Hmm. Hmm.
they almost always don't really care.
Yeah.
I had a couple of testy moments where that whale, just because tensions were high and
Right.
everyone's
Right.
eating. But
And the
I
tension's
like
more with them though, not because of you. Right?
100%. But what
Yeah.
I've found is that all of my weird encounters have been when a bear gets pushed away or like
Hmm.
bullied by another bear, and it's
Yeah.
almost like they want to go do the same to something or someone else.
Oh, interesting.
It's just a
Interesting.
theory. I have no idea if it's true or not, but it feels that way sometimes. We're like, that one just got pushed away. He's walking directly at me. Like he just wants me to move out of his way, and then he's gonna be like, "Cool, I still got it."
Yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's all the weird encounters I haven't had that many, but as long as you do the right things, they're remarkably predictable animals. Um, they almost do the same thing all the time. Where to the point where you're like, "Hey, this bear might go do this," and then you feel really smart if it does.
But
But
very
they're
different than the bears in Denali. We're talking about the coastal
Oh
bears
yeah.
and the
This
Brooks
is
Falls
not
bears.
every
Yes.
time I saw like someone's itinerary and saw that they were going to Denali or the interior.
Yeah,
So
totally
Denali
different.
bears are a lot more like Yellowstone bears, where you got to be a lot more careful. If I saw them doing those parts of their Alaska trip up in Denali after the coastal stuff, I'm like, don't do any of this.
Right, right.
Um,
2 miles away. Stay 2 miles.
yeah, yeah, I wouldn't want any part of that. So yeah, 'cause
Yes.
bear aggression is a direct correlation to food resource. So if
Right,
the food
exactly.
resource on the coast is so great with the salmon and the sedge grasses that they're not worried about it. They're not trying to protect it. They're not
Right.
desperate. So that's why bear viewing in Alaska is unlike anything else, is because that's a very, very unique thing.
Yeah. And they can see so far through those meadows. And they are probably cubs that grew up with people watching them too, that they're now moms and their cubs are growing up with people watching them. So it's
Yeah, I mean,
totally
they're not like
different.
a bears aren't like a wolf pack where they have territories, but they definitely learn everything from mom. So,
Yes.
you know, they have cubs from anywhere from 2 to 3 years before they emancipate them, and they learn everything that there is to learn about being a bear
Mhm.
in those 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
So they have to learn
So
quick,
sweet.
and that's why males tend to disperse, you know, more than females do, but because they're all off trying to find their own territory, their own mates, and all of
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Well, let's talk about this one picture because it's beautiful. The
yeah,
mom, I think she has 4 cubs.
oh yeah.
That was so beautiful.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago. That's like a couple miles down the lake from Brooks. So uh,
Okay.
we had access to a boat, so we could kind of just, there's another little creek that runs in and you can take people there. I don't know if you're familiar with Brooks, so sometimes the bears disperse a little bit in August.
Okay.
They either go up and eat berries or they chase fresher salmon. As the salmon enters freshwater, they start to die. So the longer they are in freshwater and the run gets older, the less caloric rich they are. And so bears know all of this. And so some of them will chase, you know, where a stream farther up the lake where the salmon are, you know, fresher coming in from the
Hmm.
salt later,
Hmm.
getting there later because they have to travel farther. So they'll follow them around. So I knew of this spot and I'd heard and seen her a few days before. And this shot actually was guiding actually a bunch of my friends for a morning.
Hmm.
They came and visited, and one of them asked like, "Hey, can I get some water from the boat?" So they're all like behind the bears in this photo. And I ran over to just grab something from the boat, and they popped out of the grass and then walked the shoreline right past me. And so I was the only one uh, to get, you
And I'm
know,
sure you did not gloat. You did not
no,
brag.
never, no,
Nothing,
never,
nothing. You were
never,
so
never.
sad they did not get those
I
shots.
didn't, yeah, I didn't say anything like, thank goodness I had to go get that water for you because I'm technically working for you in this moment. Yeah, definitely didn't say any of that. I
But
said,
for
I'm
people
so
who can't,
sorry.
people who can't see the screen and you're just listening to the podcast, it's a mama bear with 4 cubs of the year traveling behind her, and you can see the reflection along the curve of the creek or the lake, and
Yeah,
she's got her face up, looking and checking out, probably smelling you guys.
yeah, yeah. She had, so this was, I think, in 2022. So she had four cubs all year. Not all of them made it, but every time I, you know,
Aw,
mentioned, everyone was like, is this 399? Because it was the same, you know, a little bit after the quad.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
And
No.
quads aren't all that common, so I felt super, super lucky.
Yeah.
Did you ever get down to see,
399.
quads?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I
Isn't
got
that such a
some photos
blessing
the
to see
first year
that?
and the next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably one of the most magical nights that I
Yeah.
saw. Yeah, it was wonderful.
I
She's
mean, bear cubs are the cutest thing in the animal kingdom, in my opinion. They're little huffs and
Oh
squeals,
my
and
gosh. Well,
four of them at once. Yeah.
I've told people this story too many times, and you probably maybe have heard it, but we did when I was with Siler this past summer, did get to watch a mom and three cubs, and they started bawling, and like I knew they were gonna nurse because we'd been there
Yeah,
for 2.5 2 hours or something. I'm like,
exactly.
they have to nurse, and I sobbed like a baby.
Yeah, isn't it like it's so special when you kind of immerse yourself in their world and they choose to, that's why you let them lead the pace, right?
That's
You let
right. She
them.
came to us, laid down, and like they just piled on, and like I literally couldn't control it. It was probably one of
Exactly.
the most beautiful
And
things
that's
I've ever
something
seen.
that like I've learned over time is to enjoy the moment. I
Mhm.
think when I first started, I was trying to get shots too often.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about
But
that a little bit because
yeah,
I feel like there's so much pressure.
there
Like
is,
there's so much
especially with
pressure to do it
social
like that.
media. Yeah, especially with social media and especially like in heavily concentrated visited places with a bunch of other photographers, like
Yeah.
it's a race to be first.
Yeah.
Um, like we had a wolf encounter in Yellowstone 2 days ago, and I'm bad at posting in time, but I hardly ever post within, I don't know, months. Um, but it almost was like a weird feeling I had the other day where I was like, I got to put a shot of this up. Like I
Yeah.
didn't
You're
love
like, I
that
want to get rid
feeling.
of that again. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to feel like in the moment and like enjoy what's happening. And I feel like we got to Yellowstone 3 days ago, and we just came on a whim. We, drove 6 hours. We're living up in the Pacific Northwest this winter and
Mhm.
drove down and we're like, let's just go for a little bit and see what happens. No expectations. And it's been one of the most productive Yellowstone winter trips I've had
That's
because we set
nice.
the mindset of like, I'm not just after one thing. Like, I don't want to only see wolves. I'm going to be okay with shooting whatever we find, or even taking videos on an iPhone, or just
Yep.
enjoying it.
Just having
Uh,
joy, the joy in it.
like that's why we all started. That's what we all
Right.
want to feel. Like, yeah, it
Right.
turns into sometimes where, hey, I need to produce something out of this. And
Yeah.
that pressure takes the fun out of it, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I think
So,
more and more in the last 2 years and through this podcast and listening and talking to everybody, like that has been my biggest relief is like not worrying about numbers and just like enjoying the community of people, enjoying what we see, and like thinking about how do we protect these animals? How do we celebrate these animals? And I'm sure you think there are times when you're like, man, I just don't get it, why I don't have followers or why this post didn't do well. It's the way we all now are like, our brains have changed.
yeah.
But if you like, I try to come back to that joy, like you were saying, and just like whatever's meant to be is meant to be, you know?
Exactly. And I'm guilty of it. I think
Yeah.
about it all the time. Like, okay, what does the algorithm want?
Oh,
How
I
do I
know.
make this into whatever to feed the machine? And that's not what I want to be thinking, but it does happen. And
Yeah.
I feel frustrated with myself when I think that. Um, because that's not what I fell in love with. That's like the first trip I ever took to Alaska. The reason I bought a camera wasn't because of an
Right.
algorithm or social media,
Right. Right. You
because
weren't
it
even
was
thinking of
awesome.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And like every time I get a cool photo, like yeah, I like the photo. I'm proud of an image, but I'm more so like the memory tied to it. Whenever I see like when we were showing those images, like
Yeah.
I knew exactly where I was, exactly who I was with, what
What
I
you
was.
felt. Yeah.
That's a big one, like what I felt.
It's
And
so
like
cool.
you can just sit in that and almost like it's almost as fun looking at images in the past as it is
Oh,
shooting
yeah.
some.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was so cool.
Yeah. Well, I think
Um,
there's just a tension between, when you're a full-time photographer, I do portrait and wildlife. So it is my job and it's your job, so you're like thinking about the tension between I do kind of need to put myself out there, but I also want to do it for joy. So it's just finding that balance, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, and whoever was the famous quote, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't know. I think that person's kind of full of it because it changes a little bit, right? Like,
That's true. Money changes everything. It
yeah,
does.
that and just like
Work.
feeling like you are working in your
Yes.
happy place. So that's like
Yeah.
another balance I've had to find is like, okay, this is my job, but like sometimes when I'm guiding, I just don't have it out and I help other people. And like I
Yeah.
always, I rarely take photos while guiding because A, it's not about me in that moment, right?
Right,
Like
right.
quite literally my job to make sure other people have a great experience.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously help them with anything they need help with in settings and all of that, but mostly it's for them. Like wildlife trips are a lot of money. Um,
it's true.
Being as I started in this industry by being a client, I understand that, and I will never take that for granted what people are spending to be on a trip with me,
That's
no
really
matter if
nice.
it's
Yeah.
in Alaska or anywhere else. So it's hard. There's a lot of pressure
Yeah, yeah.
to make sure they have the best opportunities they can, and but it's also given me more of a perspective of enjoying every encounter because there's
Right,
things
right.
that I necessarily wouldn't shoot sometimes, but I'll stop and be
That's
like, guys, this
true.
is really cool.
Yeah,
And
and see the joy that they're having shooting it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It
Yeah.
like makes me feel how like grateful I am to be in those places because like a lot of times it's their dream trip or
Yeah.
that just it's such a great perspective to see others' joy in
Yeah.
certain moments. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
so true.
live vicariously through them. And it like it gives me, you know, okay, this is the perspective I should have at all times. And
Yeah.
it back to that feeling complacent at Brook things. Like I know I shouldn't feel that. I know I
Yeah.
should enjoy every second of this.
Yeah.
And so it's just that internal struggle of like, why do we do what we do? And it's
Yeah.
because we love it. And so
Yeah.
like, don't lose sight of what we love and like
Yeah.
keep loving what you're doing. And I don't know. I find if my perspective's good, I don't know that wildlife pick up on vibes. I feel like they do
People
because
say that. People do say that on this.
when
It's
I'm with
very
like
interesting.
when I'm with guests that have like a great mentality, or I go into a trip with no expectations, or like they're just the vibes are high, it feels like we're usually rewarded by the wildlife
It's so
universe.
interesting. I mean, other people have said that too. Other guides have said that too. It's
Yeah.
so interesting. But I think I want to go back because I know like that sets your purpose, but you were also listening to your gut and your instincts when Brooks didn't feel right anymore. So sometimes you just know when it's time to move on. Like you knew
Yeah.
that you needed a challenge, you needed something different. And so I think that's good. Like you learn to listen to your gut, and then you kind of might know that feeling again when it happens again, and listen to yourself, and you'll have the
Yeah, it's that
experience.
same, it was the same feeling as when I left the Midwest for the first time in my life.
Right,
Like no
right.
one that I know leaves. Like it's such a
Yeah,
like, routine. And like, I don't
yeah.
know if it's the culture or like, everyone says Midwest nice and we all stick around home. But like leaving when I don't even remember how old I was, but I was pretty old. I'd worked for a long time. Like
Yeah, yeah, that's
getting
hard.
a job and just like going like, I'm gonna go to Alaska and your family's like, you're gonna do what?
Yeah.
That same feeling is that kind of like people like wait their whole lives to come here and I'm gonna like leave.
Right,
Uh,
right. You're like, I can't. I literally can't do it. I
it
can't leave.
feels so backwards, but yeah, I feel so fortunate because I still get to go back there and I
Yes.
don't feel that complacency anymore. Like every time I step foot there, I'm so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So
and it's
I
how it
know
should.
it's such a magical place, and I've only been in parts of it, Southwest Alaska, but uh there are things that we see on our social media feeds that are going on there that you're right up close to,
Mhm.
specifically like Pebble Mine and things like that. So just remind people like how mindful are you of that when you're guiding, and like it's real, like it's a ongoing, it's not
Yeah.
over.
No, it'll never be.
Yeah,
And it's kind of what I tell my guests on trips, like this is a politics free zone.
yeah,
But
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, like that's part of why I'd like to do what I do is raise awareness or, people are much more likely to care about something or to give an, crap about something if they've been there. And it seems selfish, it seems short-sighted, but like if you haven't been somewhere, you don't know what's at risk. And so
yeah,
like
absolutely.
everyone who's been with me or, been to Bristol Bay or Alaska knows how special it is. And so
Yeah,
regardless of, who's in charge or what you believe, like places on this earth are worth protecting, not just Bristol Bay, but all sorts of places, public lands, everything.
Mm-hmm. And there's a
And the
domino effect,
a
you know.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
So like this is one specific mine called the Pebble Mine. They're not mining pebbles. It's a gold and copper deposit. Um, that this giant, Canadian company found when they were doing all of these plot holes there. And there's all these mining plots in Alaska and mining claims that are unapproved currently. So the fear is that not only were they, proposing the world's largest open pit mine in a place where you got on float planes, you've seen how connected all of that waterway was. Like, there's
everywhere.
no
It's
way that
everywhere.
that was going to work.
Yeah.
And they found this deposit right at the headwaters of both the Nushagak and the Kwijak rivers, which is quite literally the two rivers that feed all the others when the Bristol Bay sockeye salmon return.
Mhm.
And it would have been unbelievable what would have happened. It would have
So
been,
I have a map. Let me pull that map up because I was quite I have, read about this and then I realized, oh my gosh, I was really close to the spot and didn't even realize
yeah,
it when I stayed in Iliamna.
yep,
But here's the map. And so you can see how everything is so connected. There's
yeah,
Iliamna Lake and then Lake Clark National Park right here. Lake Clark is
yep,
right there. Bristol Bay over here.
yep.
So like you were saying, it's very connected.
Yeah, and those two rivers that are mentioned there, the Milchatna, Nushagak drainage, and then the Kwijak River that goes right into Lake Iliamna, it's like millions and millions and millions. I think in 2023 there was 77 million sockeye that returned
Oh
from.
my goodness.
So
Wow.
their original plan was to take all of the waste from the mine and just put it at the bottom of Lake Iliamna, and they're like, it's heavy, it'll sink. Um, which we both know is nonsense. And
It's not common sense. No.
um, no, and so it's like, well, our engineers won't let that pit fail, the retention ponds. It won't pollute anything. And it's like, okay, but you're in Alaska, which is the Aleutians come right up into that range. It's
Hmm.
part of the Ring of Fire
Hmm.
that connects Hawaii. There's earthquakes all the time. Are you telling me
Hmm.
that what happens if we have like a 9.6?
Hmm. Hmm.
Can't predict that.
It's so
And
true.
so yeah, it's never gonna be over. They're gonna fight for forever because
Too
they've put in
bad.
millions and millions and millions of dollars into
Yeah.
trying to make this happen. And
Yeah.
um, I think one of the arguments that helps is money talks, right? So okay, this pit is a finite amount of money, X amount of dollars worth of resources. But what if we could have ecotourism and fly
Right.
fishing
Right.
at X amount of dollars renewable for forever if we
Right.
handle.
Forever. Right.
So it's not a money speaks thing, but it kind of is. Obviously, I don't want it to be a monetary gain to ever have to be. That's the only reason we protect our wilderness. But
Yeah.
sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to pitch your argument that way. And
Yeah. John
currently,
Marriott. John Marriott was
currently,
saying that too about Canada.
yeah, sometimes you got to pitch certain things and
Yeah.
you got to speak certain languages. And currently, the EPA is still upholding clean water protections through the Clean
Mhm.
Water Act for that whole area.
Mhm.
So it's okay right now, but we got to fight and keep
Yep.
going after it
Something to
because
keep watching.
once
Yeah.
one mining claim gets approved, there's precedent set. And like I said, you can find maps online of all sorts of mining claims throughout the state. And then
Yeah.
Bristol Bay won't ever be the same. And
Yeah.
the part of the world that changed my life forever and got me into wildlife more than I ever thought I would will be never the same. And
Yeah.
so,
I don't think people would ever understand until they fly over it and see it. And hopefully we can preserve it so people can do that. But it really is like someone put a little dome over
mhm.
and just like made a little paradise in there.
Yeah, it's
So
wild. Yeah,
beautiful.
it's
It's so
wild.
beautiful.
If you
Well,
haven't, if you're listening and you've never done it, if you have questions, like I'll tell you how to do it. I'll help you get there. I'll figure out how to make that
yes.
happen for you because everybody needs to experience that. There's certain
Let's
things I feel like everyone needs to experience, and I'm biased, but that's one of them in my
No, I
opinion.
agree. And I was going to say that, John, I know that it's tough fighting the algorithm and like thinking about all that stuff, but even if you have 200,000 followers, your heart for the bears and for Alaska comes through. And so that there's another domino effect in that way, and that you're helping others celebrate and see exactly what we're talking about. So it's good that 200,000 people get to see that.
Yeah, that's all very new. So that was,
I know.
I know
Congratulations.
I talk the algorithm and be like, I don't want to feed it, but I don't know. I fed it something correctly. So, But again, that's not why I want to do it.
I
So
know, yes, and that comes through. That comes through.
yeah,
So
I hope so.
if you have questions for Jon, put them in the Q&A box, and we're going to get to those. Um, but also, I wanted to show your snowy photo. You have a snowy.
Oh
It's not
yeah.
just bears. We have a snowy owl photo. Those
Yeah.
are
So
all over Instagram right now. Everybody's got owls, and oops, I just
yeah,
messed it up. Let me try it one more
it is
time.
winter. Yeah.
It is winter, so everybody has owls or Yellowstone right now. It seems like,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here in Indiana.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this was I don't even remember when this was. This was before Alaska or before. This was like one of my first encounters that I like that like left me going into the car where I went at into the to drive home and just like didn't listen to any music, didn't do anything. I just sat with my own thoughts and like was just in shock that that happened.
Like what just happened?
Yeah, like so the photos of two snowy owls basically like kind of having a territorial dispute in midair. So
Mhm,
um this was in northern Michigan. I'd driven like 2 hours up there
mhm,
and they like open fields because they are raised in the Arctic. So they come down from the Arctic Circle in the wintertime. And it's just one of the first times that I've realized that learning about your subjects really can help your images, not just your experience, and it can help you like ethically photograph them,
mhm.
knowing all of their behaviors and tendencies, but it can also help your images to know your subject and to do
Yeah.
things the right way and let them behave naturally. So,
Yes.
a big thing with owls that people struggle with, including longtime photographers, is it's that pressure to get that photo, and everyone wants flight shots, right? So flushing a bird to get a flight shot, and that really grinded my gears when I was there because they traveled for thousands of miles, and there were
Mm.
owls every winter who would die because they're so tired, and then
Yeah.
people are flushing them for photos all day, and they can't hunt successfully, and
Ugh.
um it just happened the other week too. Like we found an owl kind of, around where we are, and the first day had it to ourselves. It was awesome. In day two, the word got out, three, and there were people walking right up to it 20 feet away when it was
Oh
on the
no.
trying to hunt, and then the owl left, and I have no idea what happened to it. So
Ugh.
it's just really frustrating to see like our community is so positive and supportive, but also to see like we don't have the best rap sometimes.
Oh, that's true. It's very
I
true.
know a lot of people in Alaska who think photographers behave worse around wildlife than fishermen do. And
Yes. Yes.
photographers will say those fishermen are such jerks. They don't care. Like both groups say the same things, and I've seen it from both sides. So
Yeah.
it's disappointing. Have I done a little bit, like gotten really excited? And yeah, absolutely. And I'm not perfect. I'm throwing stones from a glass house for sure, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's really important to kind of not lose sight of we're photographing animals because we care about them. So pushing them makes no sense to me. And
Yeah. And there's
you know,
always room to grow. There's always room to grow.
always,
Like if you get in
always.
your
It's not,
car and you're like, man, I should not have done that. Like I
yeah,
just did a little too much. Just
exactly.
don't do it the next time. Just don't do it the next time.
Make a change. It's never too late. Just like
Yeah.
quitting a job or
Yeah.
making a lifestyle change, like you can always learn. And I think
Yeah.
being vulnerable and like being like, yeah, that was probably a mistake. Like it's so backwards to think about admitting to that you did something that you shouldn't have because we all want to claim perfection because it's what everyone presents. Social media is our
It's
most
very,
perfect
yeah.
photos, our
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
side of our life, how fun life is, our highlight reel, right?
Right.
And so I think it's easy to talk about ethics like a highlight reel too sometimes. And I've photographed unethically before when I started. I didn't, it's not only ignorance, I've made mistakes and
And there are times when I am not scared. And like on Moose Wilson Road in the Tetons, there was
yeah,
a little tiny black bear walking, and everybody was stopped in a bear jam. And I got out and like crouched next to my vehicle. I had a 400, but then I thought, oh my gosh, I wasn't scared, and I knew the situation. But if someone behind me was taking a picture of me, it would have looked like I wasn't right next to a bear. But you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then I
exactly.
thought,
Like,
even
oh
the way
no, I'm
I
gonna,
think it was okay, but the way people might see it, like, and they could have posted it everywhere. So it's like you have to think of that too. Like if you
like,
want to set an example, and
yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna be on tour runs of
I
Yellowstone.
know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looked. I bet that looked bad, even though I was near my car and like he was far enough, but still, walking towards me, and I get in the car and I thought, oh my gosh, someone could have taken a photo and it made me look so bad. And you just aren't, oh, these,
And
stupid.
I think that's the flip side of it too, right? Like, we all want what's best, but you got to approach that situation helping someone learn with grace too, because if you
Yeah.
just say you're an idiot, don't ever do that, like you're gonna be like you're an idiot, and then you're just going to get into an argument. But if you
Fight.
say like, hey, I'm sure that you weren't trying to do this, but like, hey, let's have a conversation, let's all do better, and we
Yeah.
can watch this animal behave normally, and we can all enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes people don't know.
the
So
shaming is crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's a lot of shaming going on in people's stories and stuff. I actually did it today. I was mad today. I had a little rant today in my stories.
I'm guilty of it. There's so many times I've wanted to, like, I want to call that person dumb so bad, but they
Well,
might
I
not know
was
any
so
better.
protective of this community. And so sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to say something. Like, okay, take it down, take it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Put
Okay.
myself back on the leash. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Okay, so we do have some questions, and Lori Hill, she is so nice. She says, I met you in 22 at Brooks. We chatted about our favorite guy, Chunk. Do you have a favorite story about him that you can share? Lori is so nice. She did a workshop with me in the Tetons this fall. She's so nice.
Yeah. Did I send you a picture of him like splashing around in water?
No, you
Okay.
didn't.
I thought I did. Maybe I just saved it on my desktop as, wildlife conversations and didn't send it, but
Well, I noticed that number 2 was missing. There was a 2 missing, so maybe that's
oh,
what it was.
well, that was maybe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was like the salmon run was really late that first year or the second year I was up there. I think it was 23. And so everyone, all the bears were kind of on edge, like, where are they? What's going on? Because they're creatures of habit. They need this food source to
Yeah.
survive. So they're
Yeah.
waiting and waiting and waiting. And he was, kind of on a rampage that year where he's like trying to be dominant in the area. So he was
Mhm.
actually kind of scaring me a little bit all season. But he was up by the falls and I was in the river and the salmon had like just showed up like in huge numbers. So they were great. Like, and I saw it look on his face where like he saw them and he was like, oh, the fish are here. And he like started like chasing them downstream. And usually they'll go to a certain spot and just stop.
Yes.
He wasn't even fishing. He was just sprinting down the river after, and like this big pot of salmon pushed down and like made a wave in the river. And I swear he went all the way to the lake. Didn't stop, didn't catch anything, but he was just like frolicking and down the river in like
So
pure joy.
happy.
But I like sprinted out of the way. I was like, we
You
have
did
our
not want to be
I
in
love
his
you,
way.
man, but get me out of the way here. And I
No way.
guilty of doing the run, like get out of the way while spray and pray, like hope I get something. But yeah, it was either that or the very first photo you shared. He was the first bear I really saw up there, and he walked
Yeah.
the beach
Yeah.
right at me, and I laid on the beach, and it was in
Oh,
May, so I was
that's
the
so
only person
nice.
there. The lodge wasn't open yet.
Oh,
Uh,
that's wonderful.
yeah, and I just thought he was the coolest from day one with his cool
Yeah.
scar and
Yeah, he
yeah.
looks cool. He looks cool.
Yep.
So Kari is here and she says, so inspiring to hear you speak about your work. What's the most important lesson you've learned from bears after spending so much time with them?
Oh man. Kari always asks the deepest questions.
She said she was going to be here tonight.
He's the nicest person in the world.
She's very nice on, I don't know, we haven't met yet, but on social media is so nice.
Oh yeah, just the best. Man, what's my one lessons from bears? There's so many that I don't even know how to pick one. I think just staying grounded and being like in the moment. Like I think so much, I struggle so much thinking about the big picture and stressing about things. And then I look at them and they have to eat enough to survive, but like in the moment, sometimes they're just like, whatever, this is pretty cool.
It's so
My
cool to like watch
fish,
them like
got my
yoga
grass.
stretch and like all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Like you're just a big puppy, like having a goofy
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
enjoying every moment of
Yeah.
it.
I don't
So
think people understand that about bears. Like,
no,
no, like
no,
they're pretty
yes,
sweet, you know?
they are. They all have personality. So
Yeah.
like, just kind of living life how you do. They all have their little fishing styles and they don't
Yeah.
try to conform and they're just like, this is how I do it. And I got no problem with it. So that's a cool little lesson too. There's a bear at Brooks who just dives around in the waterfall, like doesn't
Yeah.
wait up top,
Yeah.
just chills in the bottom and waits for
It
one
is
to hit.
fun to watch that. It is so
Yeah, it's
fun.
different.
So
Be
David
different.
Fairweather asks you, what gear do you shoot and why? And what focal length lenses? Are they primes? Do you use a tripod or monopod? So just kind of a gear. What's your gear?
Yeah. Well, I've shot a lot of things. Like I said, I started at Nikon, just a little point and shoot. Then I graduated to the D850. And that's when I really got
That's a
some
great
good
camera. Yeah.
reach. Yeah, I got the D850 and like the Sigma 150 to 600 was my first like
Yeah. I had
wildlife.
the Tamron. Yeah. I had the Tamron.
Might
And
have
the,
had Tamron. I don't know. I had
yeah.
both.
Yeah.
And then when mirrorless started coming out before my trip up to Alaska, I was like, I want to do mirrorless. I messed up a lot of shots with DSLR, not checking light and all that.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a viewfinder that like helps me in the moment. Let me try that. So
Right.
then I went to Sony, shot Sony for a while, but I was never going to be able to, in my mind, to get one of the prime lenses for $14,000. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I shot all the time with Brooke, Arthur, and Tiffany, and they all shoot OM systems and their gear and the stuff they got with next to me. I was like, what the heck? And just how compact that gear is. So I ended up switching to OM. And what I do is it's so helpful because it's small, because it's a micro four thirds, which you lose a little bit of megapixels, but it's so compact and versatile, and I can go anywhere with it. When I was guiding fly fishing trips, the 600 f4 equivalent is like the size of like, I don't know else to reference this. This make me sound weird, but like a tall boy. So like it's like a 16 ounce, like it's that size, and it's the equivalent of a
Yeah.
600. So I could just
Yeah.
put a 600 in my backpack,
Yeah.
and if I see something awesome, I'm ready.
So you're hand holding most of the time?
I'm always a hand holder. I have a
You're always
tripod.
a hand holder.
I whether it's guiding or photography, I hold. Yeah.
I'll
Um,
hold your hand.
I used to exclusively handhold, but as I've gotten more into night sky and
Yeah. Yeah.
guiding trips now all over, I'm doing more landscape too. So I have a tripod now. I actually own a tripod, and I'm also trying to do a little bit more video stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. Which is
tripod has become a necessary thing I carry with me sometimes. But
yeah.
anytime I'm hiking, I always still handhold.
Yeah. And the difference between shooting, David wants to know also that just a quick overview, because this is a lot, but
Yeah, yeah.
of photographing like polar bears, Alaska brown bears, and black bears.
Yeah.
Difference
I
between
mean,
photographing those.
obviously size and behavior is different, weather's different, but also like anytime I'm generally shooting subjects that are way different colors than their backgrounds or whatever, I just like using and adjusting exposure compensation because I always shoot with auto ISO.
Yeah, true,
So
true.
I'll
Yeah.
shoot manual auto ISO unless I'm going for like specific, like a rim light or something just like a silhouette or anything.
Mhm.
Um, I'll set my ISO manually then, but I almost always shoot auto ISO and utilize exposure
Yeah,
compensation.
yeah,
So it works well with bison in the snow too right now. Like if there's a black bear and the background's really light, I'll exposure compensate up zero point 0.3, zero point
I
0.7.
love exposure compensation.
It's so helpful.
I love
So,
it so
I
much.
mean, besides the all the nuances of behavior and species specific stuff,
Mhm.
like as far as shooting goes, all wildlife you want to be eye level and do a lot of the same stuff, but
Yeah,
that's the main differences I think off the top of my head is just kind of getting the right images and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we have Mandy Hughes, who we both know. Yeah. And she's asking, what is the number one piece of advice you would give to a young aspiring wildlife photographer?
Oh,
Hi,
it's funny because I have my Be Like Carson bracelet on.
nice. I was gonna mention Carson to you tonight, but then I thought we better not.
Yeah, I don't want to cry on the
I know,
podcast.
I know.
Honestly, that might be my piece of advice. Um, for anyone who doesn't know who Carson Hughes was, he was a young aspiring wildlife photographer whose passion and joy was, I mean, I could
Contagious.
feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah, contagious, exactly. And so that would be my advice. Like, take risks, go for it. Like, risks in the sense of quit a job. You don't have to go to college right away. Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? You start the same thing over in 6 months.
yeah.
Um, don't be afraid to teach yourself. Um,
And he asked for help a
so
lot,
many
and he had
questions.
so many questions, and
They
he had
were all such thoughtful
and
questions.
he
And
just was so
so,
kind all the time and serving other people, and he was going to come to Purdue, and I was so excited because
yeah,
it's literally campus is 7 minutes from me.
yeah,
So he's just such a sweet guy. And yes, if you're
yeah,
not following Carson Hughes Photography or the Carson Hughes Foundation, you need to, because
yeah.
it's
Yeah, we
important.
had an owl date setup that we never got to
Yeah,
finalize. So whenever I
same.
see owls, I think of Carson. And
I
so
know.
that's why it's still like, I found, great grays or whatever, and or snowies or great horns or eagles, because he had his eagles at this park that he loved, and
Hmm.
spent a lot of time this fall photographing those. And I think about him
Yes,
all.
you did. You're getting great shots. Great shots.
And I think that would be my piece of advice, is just perspective, and just
Yeah,
like there's so many pieces of advice about technical side and career moves and how to succeed, but like I think a mindset and just being kind will get you a lot farther than anything else I can
I
tell you.
think so too. And we talked about it before we got on, but sometimes the photography world isn't so kind. And so to keep pushing back with kindness and keep just making that at the forefront is so important, because there's a lot of people that are really great in this community, such nice people.
Yeah.
Casey, is it Mueller?
Yeah.
Mueller. Yeah.
Oh,
Casey,
or
she's saying, what's next? What are you looking for? And that was one of my questions too. What are you going to do in 2026?
yeah. So I'm guiding photography trips full time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is in 2026. I'll be up in Alaska and in the lower 48 and all over. I'll do some Northern Lights trips and
Nice.
Fairbanks starting in March, and yeah, just kind of expanding
Yeah.
beyond just, the little world that I lived in for a while. But obviously, Alaska is going to be a part of me as much as I can make it and forever.
Yeah.
So I will be in Alaska this summer too. So, um, but yeah, full-time guiding. So,
Nice, nice. And someone says, Sharon says, seeing the bears in Alaska has been on my bucket list for years. For my first visit, where would you recommend visiting and when? That's Sharon Houston.
man, that is a loaded question. Depends what you want to see. If you just want to see as many bears as possible and feel like you're in a more infrastructured, less remote space, like Brooks is great. Um, I would suggest doing, if you can, a lodge-based trip somewhere where you have multiple days.
Mhm.
Just because the weather in Alaska can be so volatile that everything is done by float plane. So if there's a day that you have one day trip somewhere and it is foggy or low ceiling that day and too windy, or you don't make it, and you spent that whole trip getting up there hoping for one day of your bucket list, like I've seen it, and I've heard people deal with that, and that's like heartbreaking, but
Yeah,
it happens every single year. So
yeah.
if you do day trips, like leave yourself a few days to pick from, or
For
do
makeup
multiple
days.
days if you can, or just give yourself a lot of space. And you can send me a message and I can give you the full answer.
Yes.
Um, my messages are always open for anyone with questions about anything, but I definitely, like, I would say I know more about Alaska than most things. So if you got questions about that or what you specifically want to see, I can tailor something up for you.
Yeah. And Lori is curious about your opinion about shooting from the river in Brooks. She'll be there in September and would love to get in the river, but is a little uneasy about how the bears feel about it.
Um, there's people in that river every single day, and there's people in every river in Alaska every single day. So
Mhm.
there's very strict regulations at Brooks about how to behave. And if you're going through the lodge, they have guides that know what they're doing. That's where I started. So they know the rules. And when you're living there full time, you're even more careful about the rules there than it's people who fly in for the day or just random people that can go in the river. But I definitely would suggest getting a guide. Just to keep you safe. They know how to
Yeah.
walk in the river. They know that river better than anybody. But I'll be up there in September actually too. So I'm not sure what days you're up there, but maybe we'll bump into each other and we can chat about it more. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're concerned about the Bears and you don't feel right about getting in, I get that. I've heard that before. But I promise you, you're not disturbing them if you go with a guide. They know how to avoid those situations, and they're so focused on fishing that they'd hardly even know you're there. So,
Yeah, yeah. And Cindy asks, what would be a good starter camera? And what are good tips for someone working their first season in Bristol Bay? And how should we spend our days off? Oh my goodness.
well, that's awesome that you're working. I'm not sure what you're doing, but Bristol Bay is amazing. Like I said earlier, like your best camera is, or whatever camera you have is your best camera. Like
Yes.
iPhones these days are crazy. Like I found myself using my iPhone a lot today.
Yeah.
I have my
Yeah.
professional full setup with me. but it's come such a long ways. But um, really any of the big camera brands getting one of their starter mirrorless, their starter kits, anything with like a universal lens where you can shoot landscape. Like I had the Nikon D3400 and an 18 to 400. Like it's not, am I gonna like I don't know, I could win an award shooting on that setup
You
depending in
never
the right,
know.
it's all
Yeah.
about being in the right place at the
Yeah.
right time. And so the gear is so good these days that like any camera is good. So whatever one you can afford and whatever one you can start on, like I'm all for people getting what they can afford and
Yeah.
do and getting into it because it has led me to so many fun things and like so many passions and so many things I care so much about that I
Yeah,
wouldn't have
absolutely.
otherwise without
That's what I
it.
say. It's like it's just a little tool, but the
Yeah.
things it brings are it's just so
Yep.
amazing and how it's changed my life. And yeah, it's just crazy, this little
Yeah.
thing. And also just go in a camera store if you can. Like try not to just do Amazon or go
Yep.
into a camera store and like feel what feels good in your hands because that is a
100.
big deal. That's a big deal, especially for women. Some of the bodies are too big for your hands. So go feel like what feels really comfortable in your hands and like look in the used department of a good camera store. I know Roberts has a great used department. You can walk in and they are so helpful. I just helped someone buy an R7 and like I think he bought, what did he buy? A 100 to 400 to start for bird photography, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it
And that's
really
such a good point about feeling it.
yeah.
Like you got to like it and you got to be able to shoot it well and use it well.
What's happening?
Um, I don't have a clue what that is. My phone's right here, so I don't know how I
I don't know. Do you have another someone else?
no, no, I have no clue. Um, Wild.
Okay,
Um,
I think I could turn that camera off. Okay, let me see.
uh, Interesting. Yeah, that threw me for a loop. But yeah, like feeling confident and comfortable with what you're holding, like you said, like I don't know, heard some people say like this camera feels too small, or
Yes,
this camera feels
yes,
too big, or it's too heavy.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, just hold it up and get hands on something. If you're gonna spend a lot of time with it too, like
yeah,
make sure you.
yeah. And I definitely have bought used and new, and just so look for that and just buy from. If you want to know, you can message me and I'll help you know like trusted places to get used and things like that. But, and if she's has her days off in the Bristol Bay area, what should she do? There's a million,
I
probably
mean, that's such a loaded question because I don't know where she is or what she has access to in her days
her
off. But
budget. Yeah,
I don't know if you can ever hop on a plane and go somewhere, go somewhere. If you can hop on a boat or anywhere you're around, if they have activities that you can do on your day off or join along if you're at a lodge and try to get out,
yeah,
just go do it. There's
yeah.
so many cool things and places to see in that area.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So we have a big speed round, but we're getting towards the end. So I'm gonna ask you a couple and see what you
Yeah.
say. Okay. So
Yep.
is there something that you find in your camera bag that you can't do without? Not your body and not the lens, but is there something you just can't do without?
Um, the lens cloth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so basic,
Gosh,
but
no.
I'm filthy. So, I say I can't do without it, but then I don't really use it as enough. So
But if
it's
the
a
weather
double-edged
changes
sword.
in Alaska, the weather is what I was like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
did not pack enough like nice dry because it rained the whole time for us. So I needed dry things. And
Yeah.
every time you touch sand, you're touching it again. And yeah,
Yeah. One of the blowers too. Another thing I carried for a long time that is a little bit less normal is a trash bag,
yes.
specifically from Katmai, like a big Ziploc, like the fish bag, like the heavy duty bag. And mine's just because I don't like using the rain covers and I'll just like hold it in there and then I'll take my camera out and shoot
Yep.
regular. And then if it's pouring rain, I'll put it back in. The
Yep.
rain flies, I'm a chaotic shooter and I need to be able to zoom and move and touch
Yeah. Yeah.
buttons
Yeah. I
no matter
really
how
like
good
the
they are.
plastic disposable ones that you just get,
Exactly.
they're just like a trash bag. Those are the ones I like. So
Yeah. I
I don't
choose
think
those. Yeah.
I don't think I'm
Yeah.
going to spend hundreds of dollars on the fancy ones.
Cut a hole in a bag and rubber band it on my lens hood and I call it
Yeah,
good.
it's good. So, what's your favorite snack while editing or while driving around? Like, what are you guys eating driving around Yellowstone this week? Anything?
I, I'm trying to be healthy. which while driving and shooting is a really hard thing. But if we are just saying what's my favorite snack, Dot's pretzels. I don't know if anyone's said it before.
Yes, they have.
Um, they are so good.
Yes,
Uh,
someone just said that. Who was
there's like
that?
Parmesan garlic ones are amazing. The twists, the
Maybe
regular
Madison
flavors,
Webb. I think Madison
and
Webb said
they
that. Yeah.
even the like little cheese curl ones. They're all amazing.
But
Dot and
healthy,
me, Dot
healthy.
and me, Dot and me are gonna have strong words if I ever meet Dot because she's caused me some problems.
You're like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, what have you done? It's all I think about.
So do you have someone that inspires you?
Yeah.
A photographer, a book, a person? Who's that?
Yeah, the whole reason I picked up a camera in Michigan in the first place, long before wildlife, was waves when Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes winds blow, and it's
Yes.
Dave Sanford.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yeah, I remember you saying this now.
his Liquid Mountain series. I'll never forget that. And I actually was lucky enough right after my first Alaska trip to meet Dave and tell him that. So
That's so cool.
it was up in Churchill photographing polar bears, which he's now guiding up there. So that's cool and helping out
Yeah,
up in
yeah,
Churchill.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll always be the reason I picked up a camera, and I'm so grateful to now call him a friend,
Oh,
and
isn't that
that's
awesome?
kind of how the community works, right? Like you have an inspiration, and maybe not always, but mine turned out to turn into a good friendship, and I feel
Yeah.
blessed.
It's true. I have some of the same feelings. It's a really great community, and I think sometimes you think that those people don't want to hear from you, but I think they're working hard too. So it's nice to get a thank you or like you
Yeah.
inspired me, you know? It's
Yep.
nice. And so is there a moment in wildlife photography that made you laugh?
Oh, so many. Uh, Mostly at myself, like, oh, this animal will never do that. And so I don't say never anymore because I've been
Right,
proved wrong so many times.
right.
But I don't know, baby bears make me laugh every time I see them. They do something that makes me giggle or laugh, or
Yeah, yeah.
they do something silly or act like a little puppy or fall over. There was one that was so chubby at Brooks that it like tipped over and rolled down a hill. So that's one that sticks out, that's specific, but I don't know. They make me laugh all the time.
It does make you wish that people could see this side of bears instead of like the stereotypical side that makes them the villain, you know, because it's just
Yeah,
there's
and
that
it's always
other
like, oh,
side.
a mom and cubs like run. It's like,
Right.
no, they're just goofing around and being silly for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's so good to talk to you, John. We've had this scheduled for a while and met each other, way back in Port Allsworth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm so
Beautiful
glad
portal.
that you
Yeah.
got to come on and tell people where they can find you. Where's the best place? Because I know people are going to have questions for you.
Yeah, so all of my social media handles are just JWK, that's my initials, images.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
JWK images, Instagram, Facebook, and then my website is the same thing too, jwkimages.com, and that's got
Yeah.
a contact button on there if you ever have anything. But I check my messages all the time, so if you
Yeah.
have any questions, reach out, and there's no such thing as dumb questions, so feel free
That's
to ask.
true. That's true. And if you reach out to John, just say, I was on the podcast. I have a follow-up question. And like, when are you guiding? How can I get there with you?
Yeah.
And they can buy prints there too, right?
Yep. Yep, I got a store and everything that's all set up over there.
That's good. Well, you have beautiful work. And
I'm horrible at updating my store, but it does
I
exist.
know I am
Yeah.
too. I am too. I have not updated things and I'm horrible right now. I switched to a Mac. And so everything is a
Everything's new.
mess, is a
Yeah.
mess. Like
Yeah.
all the hard drives and all that stuff. So it's a mess, but I'll get
Well,
there.
you and me both. We can hold each other accountable on making
Yes,
our print
yes,
shots better.
yes. I gotta get better. I gotta get better at this. Well, I just appreciate you being on, and I hope
Yeah.
we see each other in the field sometime again.
I hope so
Shoot
too. It's
together. It
always a
would be
pleasure
fun.
bumping into each other. Yeah.
Yes, it would be fun. But
Yeah.
our next time to be together is a webinar actually on January 27th. It's a live workshop. Siler Peralta Ramos is joining me, and it's our first Wildlife Conversations 101. So he's going to teach Lightroom and masking. And I think he taught me stuff I didn't know when I was with him in Alaska. And I'm like, okay, you're coming on, you're going to teach. So I'm trying to do some educational webinars over the year. It's our like our first year doing this. So you can register that at the link in my bio at Jen L. Ritchie on Instagram, or Wildlife Conversations Podcast on Instagram, or just message me and I can get you the link if you want to register for that. And then coming up is Phoebe Carnes on February 3rd. And then Laura Dyer is going to be February 10th. And then actually March and April are full too. So it's going to be a full year. I'm really excited. So you can follow the podcast on those things I mentioned. And on YouTube, it's actually under my name, Jen Ritchie Photography. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. You can say goodbye to Jon and make sure you go and buy a print or schedule something with him or follow him on Instagram so he can get over to like 300,000.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. Thanks you all for joining us. And Jen, it has been a pleasure being on and an honor being on. And I'm just so pumped to see how much this has grown for you in a short amount of
Thank you,
time. And
Jon.
I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. It's a great community. We're having a good time. I thought it'd be like 3 episodes and here we are. So
Well, now you can say you have a repeat guest. So anytime you ever would be willing to have me back on, maybe a long time in the future, we'll catch up again.
yes,
And I'd
yes,
always come
anytime.
on and chat.
You're
So
always welcome. That's what I tell people. If you're a Wildlife Conversations alum, I sort of like want to take care of you and you can
yeah,
always come back on.
awesome. Yeah,
Okay, tell Tiffany I said hi too.
I will. Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks
it's
so
good
much
being
for
with
having
you.
me.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
See you
Thanks,
later.
everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.